You mentioned working with Kygo. What was that? What was that experience like?
So I wrote a song called Stargazing. I wrote it with some friends of mine in Los Angeles, and it ended up getting sent by I had a publisher at the time. I still have the publisher. It ended up getting sent to Kygo. We wrote it on a Monday. He heard it and asked for stems on Tuesday, which are the parts of the song, like my vocal and the synth part. And then on Wednesday, he sent it back to us, and we had a confirmed single by Friday, which is really quick. And that came out 2 months later. And I didn't know him at the time. And what happened was the label that he was on actually wanted to take my voice off of it and put a bigger name on it. And it was actually Kygo who stood up to the label and said, no, that's the voice I want. He wrote it. That's authentic. That's the music I'm putting out. So I'm actually really grateful to Kira, is his name, for keeping me on the record. Oh. And then it came out and it did really well. And I had always wanted to be an artist. I always wanted to pull a Bruno Mars or a Julia Michaels or a John Legend. They were writers before they were artists themselves. So I always saw that as the path for me is, I want to get up there and sing my own songs, but I have something to say and I can share my voice with other artists first, and build up my credibility in the industry so that when I come out with my project, people take it even more seriously. So that's what I did. And up until that point, I was writing songs for people like Ricky Martin and Maluma and the Backstreet Boys and, up and comers like AJ Mitchell and Harvey and established DJs like Armin van Buuren and of course Kygo. And so once Stargazing came out, that switched my whole career, right? So that finally gave me the opportunity to have a platform as an artist. And if people say, oh, wow, we really like his voice, we really like this sound, we really love those lyrics, he has something to say, let's listen. And so that, transitioned me from being just a songwriter writing for other people to being an artist myself. And I ended up, signing a record deal off of that. And but sorry, the original question was, how is Kygo? Kygo's great. Kira and I are good buddies, and I'm not only grateful for what he did for me very early on in my career as an artist, but we continue to be really great friends today. I just saw him last weekend at Ultra where I performed with him, and I'll be doing scattered Kygo shows throughout the summer with him. I'm doing a European headline tour in June, so I'm going to be gone in Europe for June doing my own shows, and then after that, and before that, I'll jump on and do some festivals and some shows with Kygo. There's a song called Vente Pa, which means come over. I always thought it meant come to my pool party because the music video is them at a pool party.
It's cool. It's cool.
It's cool. So Moon, I feel like you
in that video? Were you in that video?
No, I wasn't, but I went. It was at the SLS in Miami, and I actually went afterwards. I was like, "Oh, there's the pool that they were dancing around." But no, I don't speak Spanish. I wish I did. I speak a little bit of French,
okay.
But it was translated. So I wrote this song in English with some friends of mine in Denmark. At the time, it was called "Don't Wake Me Up." Let me see if I can find it.
Oh, that's cool.
And then it got pitched to Ricky Martin or Ricky Martin's A&R at the label, and they loved it. And so they got it translated, and they got it translated by some guys I knew actually named Ricky Montaner. Mao and Ricky did it. And then it was translated into Spanish, and then he sang it.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's how that happened.
I found that very interesting. And then you were nominated for a Latin Grammy award. What did that make you feel like? How'd you feel?
Oh, I found it. I found the original. Do you want to hear the original?
Yeah,
okay.
Is it copyright infringement? I don't know. You can do it.
I don't know. Yeah. I'll play you a little bit of it so you can hear it.
Okay, cool.
The troubles in my life. Say you want me.
This is the original demo.
Be mine. When the sunlight is reflected in your eyes. Oh, baby, I wanna know, are we for real? Some kind of dream. I wanna know, how can you feel the way
This was the
that I
chorus
feel?
coming out.
If you want me like I want you, baby, I won't leave without you even till the morning light. If you're thinking what I'm thinking and you're drinking what I'm drinking, then it's alright. If you want me like I want you, baby, I won't leave without you. Let the dreams come true tonight. Don't wake me up, don't wake me up, don't wake me up.
That was the original demo.
I love that song. That's great. You're the singing that song.
Yeah, so I'm the vocal on the original demo. Yeah.
So, all right, I'm going to ask you this question: are you ever going to release it on your own? Did you release it on your own? Or?
No, I didn't, and I don't know if I can. That might be copywritten. I think I could. I actually got. So I've never met Ricky, but we've DM'd each other on Instagram a couple of times.
Sure.
And I got this one message from him one day because I invited him to a concert of mine. I'll have to tell him about ASC actually and see if he says anything. But he sent me this message once, and it was like he had like the lowest, sexiest voice ever, and it was, you know, it was like, Justin, thank you so much for writing this song, man. I really like it. Was like the greatest. I have it saved somewhere. It's the greatest voice message I've ever gotten was from Ricky Martin.
And you haven't deleted it yet, right?
I haven't deleted it. I have it somewhere. Okay. I think I have it in the DM. Yeah.
That is a great story. I like your version. It sounds good.
Thank you. Yeah. You know, it was a good song in English too.
Yeah,
I think he released it
too. Yeah.
He released an English version of it.
Nominated for the Grammys, Latin Grammy.
So I actually didn't go to the awards. It was the same weekend that I went and filmed in Bergen, Norway with the Bergen Philharmonic Orchestra, the acoustic version of Stargazing. And it was a really hard decision because I really, of course, wanted to go. We lost to Despacito, so it's okay. But which should have won because that was the song of the year everywhere. But, you know, we were nominated for Song of the Year up against Despacito. And
yes,
I decided that the work comes first. And so I had to go and film with the Bergen Philharmonic, the acoustic version of Stargazing. And after a lot of debate, I decided that that was more important to go and do the work than to go and celebrate the work I had done. Sure. So I didn't actually I've never actually been to the Latin Grammys. And at some point I'd love to go and maybe win something at one point.
Right. No, that's a huge recognition right there. Latin Grammy nominated.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm sad I didn't go on one hand, but I also, you know, I love that video for the Bergen Philharmonic. So I'm glad I went and I did that. And, you know, that's also where my friendship with Kygo really started was probably that trip. Cause I had only met him once before when I drove to, I went to Vegas to sing it with him for the first time, like a week or two before it came out. And, you know, that's when they were like, hey, come to Bergen and shoot this thing. And, you know, that's when our relationship really started.
So you work with some big time artists. You're performing on stage. You're doing what you love. And spotlight. How does Justin Jesso stay humble? And is that important?
How does Justin Jesso stay humble? Well, I don't necessarily like view myself as like, oh my God, I'm doing so well, or I've made it. I mean, you know, my psyche is very much wrapped up in the idea that I haven't achieved enough. So, you know, for me, it's honestly a constant battle with myself to like be satisfied. Because I'm very grateful for the opportunities that I have, and I'm proud of what I've accomplished, but at the same time, like it's never enough for me.
Well, you've achieved lots of things that you know some people haven't even done yet. You know, so
I'm very lucky.
To that point, you know.
I've gotten to write songs that have been, you know, Latin Grammy nominated. I've gotten to sing on stages around the world for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. I'm lucky enough that I get to write and share my own music, which is really the most fulfilling for me. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's just the idea of understanding how lucky I am, and being grateful for that. You know, there are so many people who, like you said, never get the opportunity to share their music. And you know, for me, it's just the idea that, like, I get to make a living doing this, which is already kind of insane. So, you know, just being able to make a living in music or even a living in entertainment is already such an accomplishment. And something that I, you know, thank my lucky stars or whatever I believe is up there for. So, I mean, that, you know, the answer of the question of how do you stay humble, I guess that wouldn't be very humble if I gave you an answer about how humble I am. Do you know what I mean? How do I stay humble? I don't know. I am grateful for the opportunities. And when I get down on myself, I try to remember how grateful I am. And when I get depressed, I try to let myself sit in that and understand that I have so much and I should be grateful for so much. And, you know, my family likes to take me down a peg if I ever get a little too into myself.
You've mentioned that you've experienced depression.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard through pain comes great creativity. Do you find that to be true?
Unfortunately, yeah. Yeah. It's much harder to write when I'm happy. and I like to be happy most of the time. So, you know, it's funny. I did 2 years of Meisner acting training in college, and I learned, I was very depressed throughout that whole experience, but I learned not that much about acting and a whole lot about myself, because the first year of Meisner is really stripping away all of the walls that you've built up, all of the artifice that is there to get at who you are and what you're feeling, right? And who is Justin and what's going on in there. And then the second year is, how do I use what's going on in there to make art, right? And in the case of Meisner, it's how do I use what's going on in there to inhabit a character and act, right? But for me, it really manifested differently. It manifested in how do I use what's going on in there and what's going on in my heart, whether that's the depression that I've had that I can access because I have it stored, or the happiness that I'm feeling, or, you know, or the depression that I'm going through at the time. Because I still, you know, I mean, we all kind of have bad days. 2 days ago, I turned to my mom and I was like, this is one of those days. I'm not happy. I'm in a beautiful place. I'm at home. I'm with my family. But it still doesn't mean that I'm immune to feeling depressed or going through a depressive state. You know, I'm lucky that I've given myself, you know, tools to step out of it. And the biggest thing for me in order to get through it is actually to acknowledge it. If I acknowledge that I'm having a tough time, it helps me get to the other side of that. And it's not even in the moment. It's just, I have to acknowledge it and kind of sit with it and be okay with it. And then, you know, maybe the next day I'll wake up and I'll be like, okay, I went through that and I'm feeling better today, and I can do a self-check-in. But the training that I went through as an actor, which didn't really help me as an actor, helped me immensely access what was going on inside of me. And that allowed me to, even when I'm happy, go into a space and write a song about when I was sad. Or if I am, you know, in a place where I'm unhappy, I can access that and turn that into a song. And because songwriting is a craft, and because acting is a craft, and because I've been able to marry the two in a way, that allows me to get at some of that emotion that maybe otherwise would be difficult for people to turn into art.
Where can we vote for you? Where can we get more information about you? And tours. Are you coming to Chicago? Are you?
When am I coming to Chicago? Okay, so question one, where can you vote for me? You can vote on, as we have found out, the NBC app, 10 votes. It is online at nbc.com/ASCvote, and on TikTok by searching American Song Contest. And we'll probably be on the banner the day of. Question 2 is, where can you find me? Find me at Justin Jesso on Instagram, on TikTok. I have a website, justinjesso.com. You can find me on Spotify. All my music is there. All my tour dates are up on my website and on Spotify. I'm touring Europe this summer. I'll be in Germany and Switzerland and France and London and Dublin. And I would love to see you at a show. And other places that I'm forgetting right now, at Norway. Tickets are online. You can go any one of my handles or Instagram accounts or TikTok accounts or website or Spotify. They'll all take you to, links to my shows in Europe this summer, and to my music. So hopefully you guys like what you hear. And thank you so much, Moon, for taking the time to chat with me.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.